Shut up and sit down.
What's up, you guys? I'm Sai, and welcome to Ace Podcast Nation. On our channel, you can find podcasts, interviews, and content on a whole host of subjects, including football, mental health, films, TV, conspiracy theories, writing, wrestling, serial killers, music, and more. Today's episode, we're talking NXT WArgames and WWE Survivor Series. They were both up and down shows, but they were very, very good. On the whole, pretty good weekend for the WWE. And there was some awesome moments. I was quite happy to enjoy it. We're not going to be as detailed as normal because we're a bit pushed for time. My guest, who I love speaking wrestling with, is Mr. Andrew Thompson, who's a writer for Post Wrestling, interviewer for Post Wrestling. Got his own YouTube channel where he interviews people from all around the wrestling world. Welcome, Andrew. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, Sal? How you feeling today, my brother?
It's all good, baby. I'm just trying to catch up on the wrestling from last night. So I've watched AEW, but I haven't watched NXT. And bless you, you've just got up early. So Andrew's still in his pajamas, so he's not on camera. Still in his pajamas, so he's not on camera today. But we're going to talk some war games, and then we'll talk some Survivor Series. But we'll go through them a bit quicker than normal because I got to pick my kids up from school. So yeah. Oh yeah, guys, as well. I've got a new show with UFC star Brett Johns coming soon. It's an unscripted, uncensored. So if you go to my Twitter or my Facebook or Facebook, their posts are pinned. Get your questions in. They can be anything, MMA or anything you want to ask. And Brett's a good laugh, and he's got plenty to say. So you ask him a question, and he'll give you an honest answer. It's going to be a very enjoyable show. Should be a good
Premium
one.
content.
Oh yeah, UFC star, baby. That's how we roll. Yeah, but I say you got to get these guests. Got to talk some stuff. People want the content. So, War Games. What do you think of it overall, mate?
I think it was a great show. Like takeovers are always great. Like I don't know why. Like I feel like takeovers they still have this like special feeling to them. Like I get amped before watching the takeover. Like even during the pre-show, I always get amped up because it's always like a lively crowd and it's always a good time. You know the match is gonna bang every single one is gonna hit. It might not be like super great, but it's not gonna be bad and it's probably gonna be like really good. And like every match just delivers. And I always enjoy take. I think it was a great show, as they all. What I would say like from that first takeover Brooklyn show uh in the summer of 2015 or 26, I can't remember which one it was, but uh that first takeover show until now, I would say majority of takeovers have been really, really good. And I don't think they've had any bad takeovers at all since then.
Yeah, no, they haven't. Have they? I think like the last couple of takeovers before War Games, I've seen a few people say, yeah, they were really good, but they weren't as good as normal or as they've had before. But there's never been a bad one since, like you say, since Brooklyn. They've all been so good, and I thought this was, this was no different. Um, like I don't watch the pre-shows on WWE. Obviously, when I watch the pay-per-views, I watch them the next morning, and with the pre-shows, I just fast forward to the matches because the WWE pre-shows annoy me because it's just video packages and stuff that I've generally seen, whereas the NXT pre-show obviously is shorter, and I always watch it because you'll always get something, whether it's like
Mm.
the Dakota Kai or the Mia Yim getting attacked and being taken out of it. You'll always get like some little story development, even if it's only small, and it's only a short like half-hour pre-show or so. So I always watch it because it gets me excited for the takeover show. Whereas the main roster pre-shows, they always feel like a bit of a drag. So I fast forward to the matches. So yeah, you had Mia Yim. She was attacked. didn't know who it was, even though everyone knew where the story was going. It was kind of like it was sometimes predictable is okay as long as it's done well, because if it's to make a logical story, sometimes you've got to go with what's predictable, and I think they did a really good job with the whole story. They took Mia Yim out. I did feel sorry for her a bit because she had like a Bull Meccano face paint on, which she tweeted out like she was good to go, and she was obviously she knew deep down that she wasn't going to be on the show, but I liked the story and the way they did it.
They had me I was 50-50 on it. I really didn't I kind of thought Dakota Kai, but I kind of thought it was gonna be like either another option or they were like just really gonna go like full baby face with Dakota Kai, give it a whole comeback. So I was like they kind of surprised me with the heel turn. That's why I thought it was so good, because I was like I don't really know if they're gonna turn her, but I think they probably might turn her. So that was actually a really good little touch. And I agree. I feel bad for Mia Yim too, because I'm pretty sure they probably told her she was gonna be in the match, and then she got
Pulled
told
her.
she wasn't gonna be in the match, and I'm pretty sure that sucked. And like, you gotta give her respect for like being professional about it. Keeping it going on Twitter, acting as if she was still gonna be in the match. I'm pretty sure that wasn't easy to do when you see your fellow colleagues being a part of this first ever, and you got to sit it out. Like, I'm pretty sure that sucked.
Yeah, I mean, even though the story part of it was really good, wasn't it, with Mia Yim, with Dakota Kai, with Tegan Knox, but if you look at it from that point of view as well, obviously Mia Yim and Tegan Knox didn't get to take part in the first ever War Games for women, which would have been a huge deal for them and a massive moment. And they didn't get to get in the ring. But from a story perspective, I thought it
They
was
were a
told.
part of it.
Yeah, they were a big part of it, and I thought it was very well done. Um, you had Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Angel Garza in the pre-show, which Angel Garza is so over, man. He's special boy, but so is Isaiah Scott. I say the crowd love both of these guys. Um, I don't really like Dude's finisher though. Angel
But
Garza's finisher, where he does like that kind of like the wing clipper, and it's like kind of almost like a full Nelson drop thing.
I think that's exactly what it's called. It's like the wing something, the wing clipper.
Yeah, not a fan of that, but overall, like he's so over, and he takes his trousers off, and I do like the way that he changes like the point in where he takes the trousers off, so it's not like always at the same point in the match. It can be a bit earlier, it can be a bit later. Sometimes he gets caught, so they're like half on and half off. And then a couple of weeks ago, he did that spot where they did like a sunset flip off the turnbuckle, but the guy who did it to him only he took his trousers off as he did it because he just started taking them off just before, which was really clever. But I thought his match was pretty good. It wasn't like a pay-per-view match in terms of like length and work, but it was a very good match. The crowd was into it. The crowd loves Angel Garza. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was a good match to heat the crowd up. I think uh Isaiah Scott, he's like one of those guys that like he moves like really swiftly around the ring, like really smooth. Everything he does looks smooth. He's like Cedric Alexander and Big Swole and people like ACH, like they move around the ring like gracefully. So it's like everything they do looks like very easy, even though it is actually in actuality is really hard. And Angel Gaza, I think he's really gotten over too, like especially with the Full Sail crowd. Maybe this takeover crowd, like that, like they will have fun too. But I feel like he's more accustomed and equipped with the Full Sail crowd because of the way they react to, because they know everything he's going to do for the most part. So like I think both of them had a really good showing. And I think it's only going to be up from here for both of them, and we might see this match at a main event. Well, not main event, but it might be a NXT North American title match in like 2 years from now
Yeah,
between
I
them.
agree with that. Yeah, definitely. I think you're right about Swerve and all those people which you named. And the thing I like about him as well is not just that he's so smooth around the ring, but everything looks sharp and quick. So, like every kick and every move is done at a speed, which just makes it that extra bit impressive, and I'm a big fan. I hope they start to, but NXT is so jam packed with guys and stars now that, like, if you look through the mid card up to the main event scene in NXT, they're just there's so many guys and girls who are strong, who you could easily, with a couple of big wins, move up to the title picture, or they could just move into a North American Championship match, which is obviously really good. But I think they've done a good job of building quite a few guys, whereas quite often on Raw and SmackDown, they tend to build like your main event, 2 or 3 guys, and then everyone underneath can sometimes get lost in the shuffle. And I think NXT is doing quite a good job of building a lot of people up to move in and out of different slots as they need them.
Okay, so before we get into the main takeover call, I did want to ask you this since it was a big topic. What do you think about the whole Mauro Ranello, Corey Graves
Oh
situation?
man,
Since Mauro called
yeah, man,
takeover, and we already, I was about to say before we get into the actual
yeah, yeah.
takeover call, talk about the man, the voice of the show.
So right, for me, like, I'm big on like mental health and stuff. Like, I've had issues myself. I talk to people about mental health and different stuff, and I've got someone coming on to talk about bipolar disorder as well after Christmas, who's a a doctor who deals with it on a daily basis. Um, and sometimes I've seen a few people on like Twitter saying, "Oh, just because he's got bipolar doesn't mean he's exempt from criticism," and or he's got depression. What does it matter? He's still got to do this or he's got to do that. But like, I think some people don't understand is like bipolar is like one extreme to the other. So like one day you can be really, really like happy and positive and excitable and like have mania, but then literally by the evening of that day, you could be the lowest you've ever been. You could be really angry. You could be really upset. You could be really emotional. It's really, really up and down, and it's
Mm.
very difficult to deal with. Um, and it's a very difficult illness to manage. Um, and it takes a lot out of the person who's got it. It takes a lot out of their family, and you need support from family and friends and stuff. So in terms of what Corey Graves said, look, what he said is, whether you think is correct or not is kind of not the point. In the days leading up to Takeover, Mauro Ranello said that he was struggling with his mental health, but he was really hyped for Takeover. Like, he had mentioned that he wasn't doing great. So as someone who's worked with him, as someone who's a colleague and a co-worker, for me, Corey Graves, if he thinks that and it wasn't just a tweet, just to be a bit of a try and just winding people up, because I do wonder whether he was just doing it just to annoy people on social media while the show was on and he knew everyone was watching. Um, but if he does think that maybe Mauro cuts off the other two guys and Beth and Nigel on the commentary, that's okay. But go and speak to Mauro Ranallo and say that. Don't do it on Twitter when you know that as soon as you put that out on Twitter, it's not what Corey Graves said necessarily, because like, he didn't tag Morrow, he didn't go at him, he didn't like send him loads of tweets and go at him. But what he did is he said that everyone knew what he meant, and it meant that loads and loads of people, like trolls and just horrible people on Twitter, went after Morrow on Twitter. So he'd have got like hundreds of notifications of people either saying, "Oh, Corey Graves said this," or them saying, being abusive or being aggressive or saying not very nice things. And if you're struggling, that's the last thing you need, is like hundreds of notifications of people saying really negative stuff. So for me, Corey Graves should have, especially because Corey Graves just before, about an hour before, put up a tweet saying something like, people on
It
social
says so
media not
people on
respond.
social media they get too comfortable with talking trash to other people and not getting
Yeah,
punched in the face for it.
yeah. So I mean, and he's had his fair share of like people giving him grief and giving him shit. So he should have known better, because he should have been aware that one, everyone knew that Mauro was not having the best of weeks. So he should have known that by saying that, people were going to go after Mauro. So I wasn't very impressed with that, because I think Corey Graves is aware enough and intelligent enough to know what was going to happen. Like, he knew that people would go after Mauro and they would tweet him loads of stuff, and he did it anyway. So I kind of lost a lot of respect for him.
I just think you shouldn't, like, if you got something to say about a coworker, you should say it to them in private.
Yeah,
Because I'm pretty sure you could easily see them in private. Like, I know
yeah,
Graves, like he took to the little After the Bell podcast, and he even mentioned Moral by name, like, which was
nope,
weird. Like, he like gave like one of those half-ass apologies where it's like, oh, I'm sorry you were offended, like
yeah, yeah,
that type of thing. And like, I mean, and he like I saw a report the other day, well, yesterday, and it was like I think it was from Pro Wrestling Sheet. I think that's who it was. That said Graves, his intentions was trying to like, I guess, like, talk like a little bit of smack tomorrow for because they were going to call a match, a couple of matches at Survivor Series together. And I'm like, I mean, well, you could use that excuse, I guess, but I mean, if you were going to do that, like, and this is just me speaking, if I'm doing that with Mauro Ranallo, I'm gonna DM him about that first, or
mm-hmm.
get in contact with him about that first. Like, hey man, I'm gonna do a little angle on social media, or whatever. Like, I'm just joking around, yada yada yada. You know, you go back
Yeah,
at me, and then we could finalize it, wrap it up tomorrow during the broadcast. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Talk a little bit
spot
smack
on.
on it. Like, that's what I would do. Because I mean, if you know Morgan has mental health issues, I don't really think that's the type of guy that you just do these like little spontaneous angles thing where he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
where he's gonna catch on and be like, oh yeah, he's working. You know, he's working.
yeah,
He's having fun. Like, nah, I would have DM Moro or hit him up and be like, hey, are you cool with this? Such and such. And then like Corey Graves, like he should know better than anybody from the year he's had. Like, just stop talking dumb stuff on social media, because I
yeah,
remember when the whole story broke with him and Carmella, dude damn near went off the rails because the
yeah,
amount of hate he was getting, because they said he wasn't named, that whole situation. So I mean, I think Graves gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, the best thing for him to do now is I mean, he ain't delete the tweets. The tweets are still up, like, to the as of this, like, as we're doing this podcast. So I mean, like, I think the best thing for him to do is like get in contact with Moral personally. And I know
yeah.
I don't know if you saw the report that what's the name, that John Pollock reported that Moral wasn't going to be on NXT, and they don't know if he's going to be on next week's episode either. But they have been talking to him, but they just don't know if he's coming back or not. And
That's
like,
bad,
and
bad.
and,
That's bad news.
and I
Bad
saw
news.
Ariel Helwani, he tweeted at Moral. He was like, just know the MMA community got your back, etc., and stuff like that. So I mean, I hope Moral comes back, but like, that, like, that stuff can be like tasking, man. Like, he already got his issues, and then like you got him thinking about that, like the other stuff. So I'm like, I hope he comes back. Like, but the fact that they don't even know if he's going to come back next week, like, that's like, because after the first time with JBL, like, this should have never happened again. Like, bro,
Yeah, they.
like, is it just that hard, like, to just leave people alone? Like,
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's because, like you say, the end of the day, right? They've worked together before.
they have.
Um,
They've
so
done
like,
pay-per-views together before.
you're telling me that Corey Graves doesn't have Mauro Ranello's phone number? I don't believe that for 1 second.
And I'm
But
pretty
let's,
sure it's not hard to get it if you work in a
yeah,
company with the dude.
yeah, and all right, let's say by some strange, weird reason he hasn't got his phone number, he could DM him, like you said, and he could have given him a heads up and say, I'm working. Let's get something going before we call the shows tomorrow. And then Mauro could have said, do you know what? I'm not really in the right place for that, because loads of people are going to reply, and I don't feel great. So can we not? And there you go. Or you just give him a heads up, but like, to do it like that, and then the apology was weird because he didn't name him, and I did think, oh, maybe he's not naming him because he doesn't want to like draw more attention to him, to Moro, to like give him more kind of grief from people. But then I just thought, well, no, everyone kind of knows, that what it's about. But he didn't even really apologize either. It was like, I'm sorry that you're offended, rather than I'm sorry I was a dick. Um, but yeah, I think it's worrying. What would worry me if I was WWE, or certainly if I was in NXT and I was Triple H, is the fact that on, I think it was Sunday's Observer Radio, they said he was coming back on Wednesday, and they on Survivor Series they said he was coming back on Wednesday, and then obviously he wasn't on the show, and now it seems like that he's not going to be on next week's show, and that's a problem because I know that he's very popular with like Triple H and with the, with the company. Like I know they really like him.
Yeah, they love Moro, man.
He brings legitimacy as well because of his, his MMA and his boxing work. And he's the best commentator, announcer
I think he
in
is.
wrestling
And
easily.
then I don't think they want to lose him because I mean, I think one of the like the major reasons he got brought back is you remember when he first came back, he was about to call the Mayweather McGregor fight.
Yeah,
Like he was about to do that, and they brought him back like right before that, and they got some publicity from that. You know what I'm saying? So if I were them, man, I'm doing like whatever I can to get the moral back in the booth because you can't be an advocate for mental health as WWE is and taking breaks and stuff like that, and then you have one of your employees causing mental stress on another coworker,
yeah,
like who you've already been through this situation with before. So it's
yeah,
like, man, like I don't know how they gonna do it, but they gotta get Moral back. And if Moral don't come back, it's not gonna look good. It's not gonna look good on them. But at the same time, I kind of look at it as you know, it could be an opening for Tom Phillips because he was on commentary last night for NXT, and I
yeah.
like Tom. I really
I
like
like
Tom
him.
Phillips. Like he's like really good, and I think that could be like an awesome thing for him if Moral does not decide to come back. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah,
it
I went.
like one like somebody else's exit could be your opening, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I always look at like opportunities like that just in life in general, not even in wrestling. Like somebody
yeah,
else steps away, then you fill in, and then it could be your big breakout. But
yeah,
I do hope Morrow comes back, and if he doesn't, I hope he's like okay, because I mean I know I know Frank Shamrock's taking care of him, so that's his buddy, so
yeah. And like with mental health and stuff, you've got to rely, your friends, your family, people who you can turn to, who've got your back. And I think that's the main thing, is that I just hope that he's okay. But the other side of it as well is he could just think, look, I've been through this with JBL. I really don't need this on top of everything else that's going on with my mental health. You know, I've got that to deal with. So maybe I'll just stick to boxing and MMA where I don't have this problem. Do you know what I mean? So I do wonder whether he might just think, nah, I don't need this. But he is a wrestling fan as well, isn't he? And he loves, he loves takeovers and he loves NXT. Isn't it weird though that he only has these problems, or he's only had problems with co-workers or with WWE when it's away from NXT and Triple H?
I think I think it's a little bit of like jealousy, a little bit like just a little bit, like just a little
Yeah.
bit of envy because everybody likes Moro and Moro's like really good, and they say, I mean he does make quite a few like pop culture references, but that's his thing, that's his gig, like that's what
Mm.
he's good at. He plays to that younger audience, and like people know
Yeah.
what he's obviously know what he's talking about. I like Moro. I don't have an issue with it at all, but like some people feel like he may be a little too talkative, but I'm like he gets the match amped up. Like what the hell? Like when a match gets dry, like the match is boring. Sometimes, would you want a commentator to sit there and just be dead silent? Hell no. Like
I
you want to
would
be amped up.
I would rather have Mauro Ranello like he is, because I think he's amazing and excellent, than I have JR, who's on AEW at the moment, because I feel like JR is taken away from certain parts of the show because he either doesn't know what's going on, or he
Uh
doesn't know
oh.
the
Sad,
doesn't know the
sad,
people.
sad about to get banned from all future AEW events.
Yeah. Well, I just, man, like, just for instance, on AEW last night, you had the Blade and the Butcher debut. There's a big angle for them, to make their debut attacking Cody and stuff. And I thought JR, like, the crowd didn't really know who they were, so that took away from it a little bit. But then on
Yeah.
top of that, JR was like, I don't know, he really
I
took away
think
from it.
I think he like genuinely probably did not know they were going to debut, or he genuinely did not know who they. I know Excalibur knew who they are. I didn't know who they are until like 5 minutes like after the debut. I was like, oh, that's Braxton Sutter. That's
Yeah, yeah.
Ali's real life husband. So I didn't like, it took me a minute to process that. And then Andy, I think it ain't Andy Williams or something like that. Andy Williams, I recognized him like probably a good 7 minutes after the segment. So I
Yeah.
mean, I don't blame JR, but like I get what you're saying, like 100%.
But it's
He
not,
kind of
it's not just that. It's like throughout the show, I think it was like one or two, maybe three times where the way he was calling it was taken away from what was going on the screen. Whereas you want your announcers to enhance what's going on the screen. If they can't get the people over who are, in the stories and the matches and stuff, at least call the match really well and be excited and call the moves, and do you know what I mean? And I feel like at the moment he, not all the time, not constantly. I'm not saying he's terrible, but feel like at points he does take away from certain aspects of the shows, and that's a problem for me. So at the moment, there's no other commentator that I would take over Mauro Ranello in the world anywhere. But that's just me. Everyone's got a personal kind of what they prefer from their announcers or who they prefer. But for me, Mauro is the best play-by-play guy in the world, and I just think Corey Graves was a bit of a dick in this instance, and he should have known better. That's the thing for me. Is not necessarily what he said; it's that he said it because he knew what would happen, and he knew that Mauro was already struggling. And I just think it was needless. He's not he's not stupid. He's intelligent enough to know what was going to happen. And if I was Triple H, I would be saying to Corey Graves, "You get him back. You make this right, or we're going to have a problem." And basically put it in his court and say, "You need to contact Mauro Ranallo. You need to make it right. You need to apologize, and you need to kind of not get him back, because obviously that's not his job, but like basically get him back, to NXT." But then
we're gonna get Triple H versus Corey Graves at WrestleMania 36.
yeah, squash, Goldberg style, Mauro Ranallo on a pole. Right. But yeah, Corey. The outcome of that little discussion is Corey Graves was a dick, and he should have known better.
Yeah, man. Well, we gonna see next week, next Wednesday. We gonna see.
The problem is every week he's not there.
It's
It
gonna
just
get
gets
way worse.
worse.
Oh yeah,
worse and worse.
oh yeah. Like that's the thing. I don't know what Graves thought he was doing, but this situation is not gonna go away, buddy. Like if Moore don't come back next week, it's gonna get worse. If he ain't did it next week, it's gonna get worse. Like I'm telling you, like I think people just learn, like, if you ain't got nothing good to say, just shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Just shut up, bro.
That's what
Like,
my mum told me, is if you ain't got nothing nice to say, then don't say anything.
Just be quiet. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing about social media, man. It's like people like they take. Now I don't want to be like all cliche and shit and say like, oh, you take it too seriously, but like some people, like, they genuinely don't know how to chill out.
Yeah.
Like they get on their social media and just say whatever they want because they not used to paying, like, repercussions for it. Like for real, like you can't, even with celebrities, like you can't just say crazy stuff to people and then like I've seen people who I know like say crazy stuff to other people who I know, and you get slapped in public for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get your hands put on you for that. Like you can't just be talking crazy to anybody because you'll never know what can happen. Like even in the situation where it's not physical, like you could be hurting somebody else.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just if you ain't got nothing good, I mean, say you gotta be all super positive, but like if you want to come at somebody, the best thing you can do is do it in a face or do it through private message. Like that's all I got to say about it. But we digress. Let's
Yeah,
talk
as
about
always.
war games.
As
Let's
always.
talk-
the last thing I will say about it is I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, he's not above criticism. He should be able to be criticized,
He's
whether
not,
he's."
but like, I mean,
But
you
but
guys
that's not the
know he
issue,
has
is it?
mental health issues. Like,
Yeah,
just
that
leave him alone, bro.
the issue is not like that he was criticized. It's the way that he was done in public, knowing that it
By a
would,
coworker.
yeah, by a coworker, knowing that it would cause, people to bombard him with messages. So if you think he got off, he would have finished, because this was said during Takeover. So like he would have got off Takeover, like super hyped and super positive, and then he would have kind of seen the message of Corey, or he would have seen what Corey put, and then he would have gone into his notifications, and it would have been like just hundreds and hundreds of people. So you can see how it, like, if someone's struggling with their mental health already, you could see how that would affect them. But here we go. Yeah. So let's move along. The women's War Games match, which it kind of ended up being 4-on-2 because
That was match of the night, man.
it was awesome, wasn't it?
Match of the night. They
So
killed
like,
it.
yeah. So rather than go through just each bit, but
Yeah,
obviously they come
we
up.
just do a quick rundown.
Yeah. They So when it got to Dakota Kai to come out for Rhea Ripley's team, Rhea Ripley and who was in the ring? Rhea Ripley and Candice Michelle were already in the ring.
And
And it
who?
was Candice LeRae. So who did I say? Who did I say?
Candice Michelle.
Yeah, there you go. Candice Michelle. She
He's
was back.
watching some
She-
2006 Raw Network last night.
Yeah, I was watching Cyber Monday. So yeah, so Candice LeRae was in the ring and got me now. And I think it was only Shayna was left in the cage, and Shayna's team, and then in the other cage was Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox. Dakota Kai comes out, like Tegan Nox is like amping her up and saying go go go, and she walks like a couple of steps up the cage as if she's going to the ring, and she turns around and she beat the brakes off Tegan Nox.
She whooped her ass.
She whooped her real good. Yeah. She was like slamming the door into a like surgically repaired knee.
That
She
scared me a little bit. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
To you.
She took the brace off
I
her.
was like, not too hard, man. Don't hit it too hard.
Come on, we're working. And she took the brace off her knee, and she was like beating her. It was a real good like turn and
Oh
beat
yeah, that
down.
was good.
So
Definitely.
so after she beat her up, she left, which meant it was 4-3. So you had Shayna in the one cage and Tegan Nox down in the other cage, and Dakota Kai was long gone. So then Shayna Baszler's next. She comes out the cage. She's like, cocky and arrogant. She knows. Then they kind of announced that Tegan, she was taken away. She wasn't in it. So it was down to 4-on-2, which I've got to say was a very brave decision for your first ever War Games to do a storyline where it ends up being a 4-on-2 handicap match, because that could have gone wrong. The crowd could have turned. It was just, there was a lot of moving parts, and a lot of stuff could have gone wrong with the story.
I actually think just to chime in a little bit, I think that was like one of the best decisions right there, because you don't want it to be like a cluster. Like
Yeah.
even though that's the regular numbers for War Games, you don't want people to be like, oh, focus here, because you're gonna get that in the men's match later
Yeah.
in the night. So like
And
I think that was like probably one of the best decisions, was to look, let's keep Rhea and Candice in there, and then we could spotlight Shayna, Bianca, EO, and dude, EO got the biggest pop like out of everybody. Like, dude, she is over. Like,
Yeah,
it is
she's so
ridiculous, and she don't even need a title. I really don't think she needs the NXT Women's title at all. Like, she's just over. I think you just need to keep putting her in like important feuds that people care about, and just keep the ball rolling. Like, she's over as hell. But yeah, I think that was a good decision to have just 6 people in the cage, and don't let it be a cluster, so you could focus more on the story, and just like, I think it worked out great for what it was.
Yeah, I thought it was just such a good match, and I thought every single woman in there had at least a few moments where they were awesome.
And you want to know the crazy thing? Just to chime in, look, they all have stories coming
Yeah.
out of the takeover. Like, there's nobody like in a dead spot. Like everybody has an issue to have another issue with somebody in that match. Like it's either you took away this moment from me, or you did this to me, or you pinned me. Like Rhea Ripley obviously probably is gonna be challenging Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Title at Takeover Portland in February. Bianca Belair could have an issue with the members of her team. Kaylee
Yeah.
Ray, like they could be beefing with Kaylee Ray because they like you just got lumped into this, so this could be your fault that we lost. They probably got issues with Candice LeRae. Shayna Baszler probably got issues with everybody in that match now. So like and Io, like she's just over, so you can just throw her in anything. So
Do you know what
it's
I
good.
would like to see? Kaylee Ray versus Candice LeRae. I think that could be an awesome match. I wouldn't mind seeing them go a bit like hardcore, bring in some weapons, do like a last woman standing match.
Cardiff, Kansas. I mean Cardiff, Candice.
Yeah, I just think I think they could have an awesome match because like Kaylee Ray on the indie scene was like she was all about the crazy stuff, and she hasn't really shown that in the like NXT UK or NXT. She hasn't shown that side of her character, and obviously, everyone knows like Candice LeRae on the Indies where she was with Joey Ryan, and like there's always, you always see that picture will always pop up now and again when where she's covered in blood. After a match with, I think it's from a match with the Young Bucks in PWG, I think. But like, I'd love to see them two just let off the reins a bit and just go mental, just like smashing each other. But I also, do you know what else would be I quite like to see is Io Shirai versus Bianca Belair.
That'll be a banger. I
Because I
mean,
thought,
like that,
do you think it was
like 20
weird?
minutes.
Do you think it was weird that Bianca Belair kind of turned heel just for this match? Like
Oh,
she was a babyface. I know
I don't even know if she's a heel or a babyface. I think she's a tweener.
she's
Cause I
just all
mean,
about her, isn't she?
cause I mean, people gonna cheer and some people gonna boo her, which I don't get. But I mean, I don't really think she's a heel. I don't think they present Io Shirai as a heel. But did you hear that pop she got? She ain't no damn heel. Like she just marches to the beat of her own drum, and so does Bianca Belair. I'm starting to think like maybe the idea of heels and baby faces are starting to like wear out a little bit. Cause I mean, like people gonna cheer for who they want to cheer for. Like I truly think, and people gonna call me crazy. I think one day people are going to like absolutely love a dude like Baron Corbin. Like people hate him now, but like they gonna treat him just like how they treat the Miz now. Like we like you did your just do. Like we
Yeah.
respect you, and I just think like heels and baby faces are starting to like fade out. So like Bianca Belair, she's a tweener. Io Shirai, she's a tweener. Like the crowds love them. So I mean it could go either way though. Honestly,
Yeah, and the women's division in NXT is looking unbelievable at the moment. It's like looking so good. Like you say, everyone's got some sort of story or confrontation coming out of it, so it's going to be, it's going to keep being good. Um, I think that Rhea Ripley's going to take the NXT title at the
oh yeah, definitely.
next takeover. Is that takeover Portland? Is it
Yeah,
the next one?
take over Portland. Yeah, yeah, it's in February, and I think like honestly, dude, like right now, I think if you're gonna take the title off over Shayna, because I think Shayna is right behind Oscar as the best NXT Women's Champion of all time.
Hmm.
Like if anybody's gonna do it, it's gonna be Rhea Ripley.
But you
'Cause
know what might stop it though is, sorry to interrupt you, mate. Is I wonder whether they may have Rhea Ripley win the Rumble, because she
mm,
was so over on the main on Raw and SmackDown as well, and
yeah, man,
she got
she
that
got the
unique look, she got the
yeah.
work, and Triple H obviously is a big fan, and I just think they won't take the title off Shayna to give it to Rhea if they see like a big match between Rhea and someone at Mania. I would like to see Rhea versus Becky at Mania,
Yeah,
but
but for real, I think that match that they had on NXT, that was one of the like, and it wasn't that long, but that was one of Becky's best performances that I've seen since probably Evolution when she had that match with Charlotte Flair.
mm,
Because I mean, I think Becky like she's more of it's the character that's interesting
yeah,
opposed to the in ring work, if that makes
yeah,
sense. And I think the last like great match that I seen from Becky was at Evolution against Charlotte, and like now like that match against Rhea, like Rhea brought like the best out of Becky, like and that was like she looked really good in that match, and it was a fun match. So yeah, I can honestly see that happening. Rhea Ripley, like she blessed, man. Like she got the look, got the theme music, which I think is very important. I think that's an underrated tool with a professional wrestler. The theme music, she got the theme. Like I said, she got the look. She can wrestle. She got size, so she can work with the smaller female athletes. Like she can do like the things she does with Sasha Banks, like the twist around DDT. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
gotta have some size and some power to pull that off to make it look good at least. And Rhea is great, man. Like she gonna be good, man. And like everybody says, she only 23 years old, so
So
you ain't gotta do it now. You can do it honestly whenever. But I think now is the right time.
yeah, and I think while people are hot for it, it's the right time. However, equally, what they could do is they could have Rhea beat Shayna. They could have Shayna turn up in the Rumble in January. Even if she doesn't win it, you could have Becky Costa, like she could be in the last three, and then have Becky Costa. You could then have Shayna lose in February to Rhea and move Shayna up to Raw.
Do, do you
Um,
do you think Ronda Rousey gonna be in the Rumble?
I don't know. If she is, then you can expect a four horsewomen face off. But Becky, if she's champion, isn't going to be in the Rumble. So I don't quite know how they get that done. But it'd be interesting unless Shayna perhaps wins it, or like the last three are like Shayna, Charlotte, and Ronda, or something like that. And when like Charlotte wins, then the other two start beating her down, and then Jessamine and Marina Shafir sort of come down and join in. It's 4-on-1, like a beatdown after Charlotte's won the Rumble, and then Becky makes her way down, and then it's 4-on-2. They start getting beaten down, and then Bailey and Sasha come, and you get it that way. But if I think as soon as Ronda's back, because I think they're maneuvering to move Shayna to Raw by the angle which closed Mania and the way they, booked her, the way they booked her in the run up to Survivor Series. I think she's going to be going to Raw sooner rather than later. And I just think as soon as Ronda's back, they're going to do that angle. I was surprised they didn't do it as Survivor Series, but it all depends on Ronda, doesn't it? It depends. Like she obviously has made it public she wants to have a baby, so it's kind of all on her, isn't it?
Yeah,
Um,
man.
so yeah, there's lots they could do. So Rhea and Candice LeRae won after Rhea handcuffs herself to Shayna and hits the Riptide over two chairs, which was awesome. But there was many spots. There was a moonsault off the top of the cage by Io Shirai. It was an awesome match. It was very, very good. Next up was also a bloody awesome match. I really, really enjoyed this as well. And like this is what I mean about takeovers. They always seem to get the opening match right. Have you noticed that? Like whether it's a tag match with like the Revival or the Undisputed Era or someone like that opening it, the opening match of the main takeover card is always awesome. If
Yeah,
you go if you go
I think
back
just
and
with
look,
takeovers in general, I think the best thing that they do is they pick the match that they think could steal the show and they put it on first.
yeah,
Like, and it might not even be the most hyped up match on the card. It could just be the match that they think might have the best in ring rate and can have the best get the best pops out of the crowd. And they be like, go do that first. And like I think the match order is something that's always really good on takeovers, and I think that's just a competition thing a bit between coworkers because like they be like you ain't gonna show me up, so we gonna go out there and we gonna kill it too, and that's like a good thing, friendly competition between coworkers.
yeah, damn right. It was it's what you want, isn't it? You want them, not working against each other. You want them working together to put on the best show, but like a bit of friendly competition, isn't it? They all want to be the best. Show it. And I feel like NXT does that very well. So you had Pete Dunne versus Damian Priest versus Killian Dane, with the winner getting a shot at Adam Cole's NXT Championship at the next night at Survivor Series. This was an awesome match. I gotta say, it was really, really enjoyable. You know, Pete Dunne is just so he's just so good in the ring. He's just everything just looks so good and crisp. Um, he hit this like a snap German suplex on, I think it was Dane, and it was just it was beautiful, just so quick and just like real snap to it. But one of my favorite spots was when Dane had, I think, I'm trying to think which way around it was. I think so. Not punishment. Martinez was this. Sorry, Damian Priest was on the floor on his back, and Killian Dane picks up Pete Dunne and does a Michinoku driver. But as he sits down to do the Michinoku driver, he slams Pete Dunne's head into Damian Priest's head and sits on his head at the same time, and it looked awesome. It was such a great spot. What did you think of this match, mate?
I think I think it was a real good match for what it was. I feel like the crowd they just came off like a real high, so they were kind of like they were kind of like just flat, like not super flat, but like they were kind of flat for the match. But I think they, like, the time like the match was heading to the closing portion, I feel like they got the crowd back in it. Like, Pete Dunne's great. I really like Damian Priest. I feel like the way they presented Killian Dane since he returned to NXT, like he's been built like a true monster, and I really like that. Like the difference between him and how he was, even when he was last in NXT, is so different. Like, he's like a legit monster now. And
Yeah.
I just want to say this. I keep seeing people saying that Killian Dane was using the one winged angel. Killian Dane has been using that move for years. Like, I don't think he stole that from
Yeah.
Kenny Omega. He's been using that for a long time.
I
Like,
remember
so
seeing him use that in ICW
yeah,
years ago.
he's always been using that move. Like, that's, like, I mean, of course, people associate that with Kenny
Yeah.
Omega because Kenny Omega's a bigger name, but they just want to throw that out there. But
Yeah, yeah.
that was a real good match between them three. They went out there and did what they could with the crowd that they had, and even though it took the crowd a minute to get into it, it was really good. And Peter Dunne got the win. I think Killian Dane should have got the win, because Pete Dunne's a made man, but when I thought about it, like, after the match, I was like, yeah, if I was putting that on in front of a majority of casual, like, not casual, but like, if I was a casual viewer watching that, I would want to put on Pete Dunne versus Adam Cole opposed to the other guys.
Yeah, I thought Killian Dane had a really, really good showing, but yeah, you're right. I thought like Pete Dunne, but then I don't know. Pete Dunne and Adam Cole on Survivor Series was so good. So I don't know, but yeah, I can see what you're saying totally. Next up was Finn Balor versus Matt Riddle. I thought this was Finn Balor's best match for a very long time.
I agree. I agree. Yeah,
And
man, Balor, his transition has been crazy. He has had a great transition.
yeah, man, it's been really cool
And
seeing
that
what
let
he's
me
done.
that Bloody Sunday is hell, isn't it?
Yeah,
That finisher,
it's nasty.
that drop DDT that shit is, oh my bad for the language, but
Yeah,
that is crazy. Like, that move looked like it could go so wrong, and
yeah,
it
looks
looks so
nasty.
it looks so damn cool.
Yeah, so it was a good match. Matt Riddle, the way they're booking him is frustrating me. Like, I knew Finn was going to win, and he should have won this because they're building him back up and stuff. But I feel like when they were doing the NXT invasion stuff, Riddle got a bit lost in the kind of where everyone was invading. I felt like they should have put um, a bit more focus on him when he was up in Raw and SmackDown, because he is so special, and I just think, like, they had him pin Orton at Survivor Series, which we'll get to in a minute, and then they had him Baron Corbin get him out straight away. And I understand wanting to get him get the heat and stuff, but like, I felt like they could have done a bit more with Matthew Riddle.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at situations like that, I mean, especially in these type of situations, like I don't think it's gonna be possible to get like a lot of shine on most of the people that we think should get shine. I mean, somebody was gonna be the odd man out in certain
Yeah, yeah.
situations. Like I see with people like I've seen that like with your point before, like with people saying like Riddle kind of got lost in the mix, but I mean if it wasn't Riddle, it was gonna be somebody else. And like I feel like out of everybody that was in that mix for NXT, I don't think it necessarily hurts Riddle because I think Riddle's always gonna be over regardless. Like people just love Matt Riddle. I just think now is a matter of time of getting him like back on track where you
Yeah.
had him going. But like I said, like anything like things change. Like I'm pretty sure plans change. Like they probably had something for Riddle and it got switched up and then like now look at it. Keith Lee was able to gain some of that traction, and now he's a made man. You know what I'm saying? Like people talking about, damn, they wanted him to go to goddamn WrestleMania and face Brock for the title after what he did to Roman Reigns. You know, and Keith Lee had a great showing with Roman Reigns, and I mean, that could have been Matt Riddle, but
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes you just a product of everything going on, and you just got to play a role, and that's what Matt Riddle did. He played his role, and he got some shine, but it just wasn't the shine that most would think he would have got. But you know, I think a big thing coming out of this, like especially during this match that he had with Finn Balor, is that he's starting to like use a lot more Goldberg's
Oh
moves,
yeah.
and people are kicking out of the moves, and I think that's like I don't know if that's like intentional, but like I really like that, and I definitely think that one of these days, probably, I'm gonna bank on next September that we're gonna get Riddle versus Goldberg at one of the Saudi shows.
Do you think? See,
Oh
I
yeah,
think,
I think
I
that's gonna
think. Do you
happen.
know what? Do you know what I think they might do? Is Riddle be in the Royal Rumble, and he'll come in clean house or whatever, and he'll have someone up in the jackhammer, and then Goldberg will be the next entrant in his
Oh
music.
goodness,
What a face off! What a pop!
nah man, keep Goldberg as out the Rumble. Say somebody else that spot.
Yeah,
Have Goldberg come running on him like without being in the Rumble. Have him come like toss him over the top rope, something like that.
they're gonna.
We'll need the spot wasted on Goldberg, man.
Yeah, I can see that, but I would like, and I only want to see Riddle versus Goldberg if they give Riddle a convincing win. If they ain't gonna give him a convincing win, then keep Goldberg away from him. That's what I can say. Um,
We got to do a podcast. I can't wait to Goldberg pin Riddle in 10 seconds. So
oh
me and
man,
you do the podcast.
that wanna be over 18s. Right. So next up we got the men's War Games match.
Oh yeah,
Jesus
wait, first,
Christ.
what did you think about the Riddle? Just quick thoughts. Like, what did you
Riddle
think about
Balor,
the
I thought it
Riddle
was really,
Balor?
really
Yeah.
it was a really good match. I thought it was Riddle's best match for a while as well.
Do you
And I
think
thought
Oh, you go ahead. I was gonna ask you a question
I,
after, but
no, I was going to say I just thought they both had a great match. I thought they both looked super strong, and I thought they did a good job. Even though, like everyone knew that Riddle was gonna, he was gonna lose. Um, but I thought they did a good job of protecting him in terms of they've made Finn's finisher straight away has been kept strong and really good. Um, and did you notice the only CM Punk chant in the whole of NXT Takeover was when Riddle did the GTS? Um,
yeah,
apart from that, there was not one chant, which I thought was
yeah,
quite awesome. But that
that's
just meant,
good, man.
it just meant the
The
crowd
crowd was
was
having a
really
good
good.
time.
Yeah,
Let me
and I
ask you this: so you think Balor's taking the NXT title from Adam Cole in February at Takeover? Because I think we might get a 3-way with Cole, Ciampa, and Balor, and that way Cole doesn't have to take a pin. Because I think Ciampa's gonna take the pin if that is the direction we're going. But I do think we probably either gonna get Balor's NXT champion. And the only reason I won't say champ is because he just came out of neck surgery, and I'm pretty sure they don't want to take that risk of having it be a part two of what just happened earlier this year when he won it and when he was NXT champion. Then you got to take the title off because of injury, God
yeah,
forbid, you know. But I think that's the direction they're going with Finn Balor's NXT champion.
yeah, I my only disappointment with the whole thing since Finn's come back is that I really thought that meant we would, especially because he's been interacting with Undisputed Era so much. I really thought we were going to get Undisputed Era versus the club, or the OC, and that still like gets on my nerves a bit that they haven't gone with that route. But I do think, yeah, Finn will probably take it off Adam Cole. Yeah, but then it's like, what do you do with Adam Cole then once you've taken the title off him? It
Give him a
feels,
break after this year he's had.
well, after the month he's just had, he's done like a year's worth of traveling and work in the last
Dude,
month.
look at his 2019. Like him and Will Ospreay are my wrestlers of the year for the men's side. Like these dudes, like especially okay, just talk about Adam Cole specifically. Royal Rumble, right? He did the Royal Rumble. He had the WrestleMania weekend match with Gargano, ran it back at Takeover 25. I think he had a real good match at Brooklyn. I think he was on Brooklyn. Take over Toronto.
Mm.
Like he what else had that crazy month this month of November, the SmackDown, the bangers with NXT. He had a couple hit matches with Matt Riddle this year. Like, and then he capped it off at Survivor Series, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna be defending the NXT title against somebody at probably Finn Balor take over Portland. And if he beats Finn Balor, I'm 100% sure that Adam Cole is gonna be defending the NXT title at WrestleMania. Like I'm 100% sure, and I
Yeah.
probably is gonna be in the Rumble too. So like he's had a hell of a year, man. But yeah, we the men's War Games match, the main event.
Oh yeah,
That was
was
that was a really great match. I really enjoyed that.
very, very good.
They
The
killed
one
each
thing,
other.
oh my god, yeah. The one thing I wouldn't say I don't like. The one thing I struggle with a little bit with the War Games is you miss bits of it because the camera's constantly flicking, trying to when they're on the opposite sides of the ring.
Let's see that's what I meant to. That's what I was trying to tell you earlier about the
Yeah,
women's match. That's why I wasn't. That's why I liked that it was only 6 people. Because if it wasn't, you would have had that same type of switching the cameras, missing action.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you hearing people oohing and ahhing, but you can't see it because you're not there. Because they on the
yeah,
other side of the ring.
yeah. These guys, I tell you what, they killed each other. So the mystery guy was Kevin Owens for Team Ciampa. Um, what did you think of the surprise in the match generally?
I got one thing to say and one thing to say only. That pop was unreal, sir.
It was big, wasn't it? Woo! Kevin, and he wore his NXT T-shirt, which I thought was cool, and he came out to his NXT Titantron, which I also thought was cool. The pop was huge. He at one point, him and Adam Cole were on the steel plate between the two rings, and he teased. He started to put Adam Cole into a package pile driver on the metal plate. And I gotta say, if you'd said to me before that they were going to tease that, I'd have said no. I wouldn't. I won't buy that. They're not going to do a package pile driver like into 2019 in the WWE on like a metal plate like that. No way. But when he was teasing it, I was like, oh my god, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. And then they didn't do it. Adam Cole gave him a Panama Sunrise on the steel instead, which he killed Kevin Owens.
Yeah, man, 100%. Like they like the thing about NXT, I think they're more like free with their moveset.
Yeah.
Like, and I was seeing Kevin Owens do some stuff when he first got in the cage that I haven't seen him do in a minute. Like,
Yeah.
especially with Finn Balor. Like, Finn Balor wasn't doing the Bloody Sunday on the main roster. He wasn't even doing the 1916 on the main roster. Like, so yeah, it was good,
It's
man.
good to
Like,
see, and I think
yeah.
that's why Finn Balor's match was so much better because he's a bit freer to work like his normal, like his style. And I just feel like sometimes they restrict them too. I understand they want them to be safe and they don't want people to get hurt and all this type of stuff, but I do feel like it hurts their characters and their matches sometimes the way they do restrict them. But there was no restrictions on this War Games match, and it finished with I gotta say, it was an incredible spot. The finish, but it was. I was worried, man. like Ciampa came back from neck surgery recently. Not just came back, but came back like 3 months early or something. And he's on top of the cage with Adam Cole, and he hits an air raid crash. So he's got Adam Cole like on his back, and falls off the top of the cage through the two tables. And I was just like, oh my god! I was looking when they were like announcing the winner. I was just looking at the two of them on the floor to see if they were like moving, especially like Ciampa because of his neck injury. I was like, geez. But he took real good care of Adam Cole. Tucked that head and he protected him all the way. And I like that they didn't get carried away when they're at the top of the cage. They didn't get carried away and rush through it. They made like Ciampa and Cole. They made sure that it was like set up, and Ciampa made sure he had him secure. You know what I mean? Like it was a scary spot in some ways, but they were real professional about looking after each other on the way down, crashing through the table.
Yeah, I agree, man. 100%.
Yeah, overall, I thought it was a great show, man. It's really good. One of my favorite NXTs for a while. Not that any of them have been bad, but this one was particularly good. I thought every single match was good. Even the pre-show match I really enjoyed. The only thing I was secretly disappointed that the surprise wasn't my Squirrel, but like deep down I knew he wasn't going to be there, and I knew he wasn't coming to WWE.
Marty
But
Scurll, he's still working Final Battle.
I know. I just, in my head, I was like, yeah, man, the villain's going to turn up, the music's going to hit, and the crowd's going to go ballistic.
Does he own the rights to that theme song, or is that Ring of Honor's
Yeah,
theme song?
I got a feeling he owns it, but I might be wrong because I'm sure he used
it's gonna be a hit to his character if he doesn't have the rights to that theme song. Like if he does decide to leave, like if that theme song is such a part of the villain character.
It is, but one thing WWE did very well, and I think AEW have got to start to do better with the theme songs, is, do you remember when Samoa Joe came in and they didn't have his exact music? They made a great version of his music, which now everyone assumes has been his music all along. Like it was almost, if you listen back to some of his older stuff, the music he used to come out to, I thought when he had to change his music coming into NXT that it would be like a bit of a hit to his character. And I just think, I guess it depends what music you give him, isn't it? That's what it comes down to. So what we've got for time, right? We're gonna skip through Survivor Series super quick. It's a really long show anyway. So what we'll do, let's talk about some of the highlights in it.
Yeah.
The pre-show was poo. I say not all of it. The Battle Royal was like a waste of my time.
I wish they would stop trying to make Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler a thing. They should have gave the win to the Street Profits.
Street Profits, Revival, the OC. Could have had any of those. And right, so when it comes down to the Street Profits and Ziggler and Roode, it's gotta be the Street Profits because they're starting to get momentum. When you've got the Revival, give it to them, fine. But if you don't want to, I can understand that. The OC have just won a tournament in Saudi Arabia to say they're the best tag team in the world. Give them the Battle Royal because that just furthers that storyline that they're the best tag team to the point where you could then perhaps move them into a title shot. Street Profits, Revival, or the OC, all better choices than Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler because it's pointless giving it to them. No one wanted to see them win. I'd have rather seen Imperium win. But there we go. That's all we'll say on that. NXT Cruiserweight Championship. Lio Rush, man. He's a crazy dude, man. He's so
keep trucking,
good.
Leo. Keep moving forward, buddy. You the man. Leo's the man.
He is the man. And you look at that now, 6 months ago, all the grief he was getting. You look at where he is now. The schedule he's working, the money he's making. It's a clever dude. Knows what he's doing. And he told them straight. And one thing I like about Lio Rush is he all along has been consistent in that he knows his value. He knows that he has got something special to offer. So he tells people, like he tells the WWE, like, if you don't appreciate that I'm special, I'll go somewhere else. And I do think now, especially now he's in NXT, or back in NXT, I think Triple H is going to do some special things with him.
For sure, man.
Then we had the Viking Raiders defeated the Undisputed Era and New Day. Bit disappointed to see this.
I think they needed that win.
Yeah,
Viking Raiders.
absolutely.
Because I think we're going in the direction we're going to eventually end up getting AOP versus Viking Raiders.
Yeah, so they had to win this.
Big beef battle, buddy. So that's gonna be a good one. And I mean the match was fine. I didn't really have a problem with it. I mean, so somebody had to lose, so you know.
Yeah, this was a difficult one because really you don't want to beat any of these teams, but Viking Raiders I think was the right choice. However, I was a bit disappointed to see it on the pre-show, but there we go. It is what it is. I suppose someone's got to be on there. And I don't mind. The one thing I'll say is with the pre-show, I don't mind if you've got like what the UFC does, where you have a couple, like 3 matches, say on the WWE pre-shows on the main roster. Have 3 matches on there and build the 3rd final match as the main event of the pre-show. Like make it feel special. Because then I think people will watch. Then I think it doesn't feel so much like, oh, I'm on the pre-show. But Kofi Kingston, a couple of months ago, WWE champion. Now,
let's go ahead and skip past that because we're not even gonna get it. We're gonna go past the time, buddy. I'm not even gonna get into that.
Not getting into that today. Okay. Next,
we're gonna end up going on a tangent, and I'm gonna be talking for the next 40 minutes about how they doing Kofi.
Yeah, he's gonna be back. So, Team NXT women defeated the Raw and SmackDown team. The survivors were Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, and Io Shirai. This I thought was pretty damn good match. I wouldn't say like from a work point of view it was like amazing, but I did really, really enjoy it. I liked the little stories they did. I liked the way they protected Io Shirai, and the one thing I did think wasn't so fussed on was the way they did the kind of double injury. I thought that was a bit overbooking almost. I feel like they could have just taken one of them out.
I'm gonna just disagree. Like on that point, I disagree with you. I think that was actually good. I think that was good booking by Triple H because that is a way to avoid his people getting pinned. Like that is like actually clever. Like they thinking from that. Like I'm pretty sure he was like, from a booking perspective, he probably was like, well, I don't want my people getting pinned, so I'm gonna pull them out of this match. And I think that's actually smart, and that's something that whoever's controlling Raw or SmackDown should have probably thought of to protect some of your people, because he's like, well, I'm not about to pin my people, so the majority of them, I'm not gonna pin the ones that can't afford to take a pin right now, so why do that? And I think that was very, very smart. Only thing in this match, I'm off the top, just being quick here, I think Toni Storm kind of felt lost. Like I kind of forgot she was in here. Like she's kind of like been like just I like she hasn't been on NXT UK in forever. So and I know she was a part of NXT US full time. So it was kind of like weird seeing her because like they haven't mentioned her at all, and like she just kind of popped up. So
yeah, they didn't even
hopefully she gets
mention it when they brought her in. You know, when they brought her in, though, they didn't even, like on SmackDown, wasn't it? And they didn't even say, "Oh my God, it's Toni Storm." It was just she was just there. But yeah, I suppose I can see that. What you were saying about protecting the pin and stuff. That's quite clever. But I liked seeing Sarah Logan and Carmella and Dana Brooke get some action and get some time. Oscar's my favorite still. I just can't get enough Oscar. And I loved over the last week, every time we saw Io Shirai and Kairi Sane face off was just like this awesome moment. Even though they never quite got going against each other, I just loved that moment where they were facing off. And there were so many little face-offs in the women's match that could lead to something special. So I think, that was pretty cool. What's got Roderick Strong defeated Nakamura with Sami Zayn and AJ. Were you surprised that Roderick got the win here?
Not really. I mean, I kind of felt like AJ's made man. I don't really think they got, and from what I see, like I don't really think Shinsuke is a priority to them. That's what it seems like. I feel like he's just like a champion just to be champion. Like I feel like they need to do something quick with Shinsuke, like ASAP, like to make him super interesting again. Like for real, honestly, what they could do is they could just switch his theme song back to what it was, and I think people would love Shinsuke again, like super love him, like how they used to. But I mean, they I think they are advertising Shinsuke versus The Miz, versus Sami Zayn for the IC title at the Starrcade show on Sunday. So I mean, maybe that's like a preview of what's to come. Maybe we'll finally get the Sami Zayn, I guess, uh maybe he's gonna start facing Shinsuke for the title. What do you think about that IC title? Because I don't like it.
I don't hate it, but I don't like it. I would prefer them to if they wanted to change it up, just change the strap because I like the traditional one. I'd like to see them change the US title, and I'd like to see them change there's another title which I don't like, and I can't remember which one it is. Oh, the cruiserweight. I want to get rid of the purple strap on the cruiserweight title. But the IC title, it's all right. I don't hate it, but I'm not like, wow. Like the NXT UK titles are like beautiful and amazing, and they look just awesome. And the IC title, I was just like, So, next up was the NXT Championship match, which was Adam Cole versus Pete Dunne. What did you think of this one? Because I thought this was the best match of the night by far.
Yeah, it was kind of like the Dunn Damian Priest the Killing Dame match. Like I think the crowd was kind of down for it, but not down, but like they were kind of flat at the beginning.
Yeah.
Then Cole and Dunn reeled them right back in,
Oh,
put
yeah.
on a banger, and Adam Cole, baby, is still the NXT champion and having a great year. And now I don't know what they're gonna do with Pete Dunne.
Yeah, Adam Cole's pretty over. He's wherever he goes, people seem to like him. Um, he's just one of those. He's so charismatic, though, isn't he? Like the way he speaks, the way he moves, he comes off as a star. Um, and like everyone goes on about how small Adam Cole is, and like he's not massive, but like when you put him up against Finn Balor or Daniel Bryan or people like that, he's not that much smaller than them. So I just think, and he's so charismatic, and he carries himself like a star. So I do think he's the sort of small guy that Vince would like because of the way he can cut a promo and the way he carries himself. I don't think he's as small as people make out, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean,
What?
I, I just think, like, I mean, as far as size goes, majority of the top wrestlers are small. So I mean, I really don't think it matters, honestly.
No, me neither. What would you do with Pete?
I think it would have been a very like it would have been obvious if you did the 3-way with Cole, Bray, and Brock. I think that would have really
Yeah,
made Adam Cole look small.
of course. But then
But I
Brock
mean,
is massive, isn't he? Like Brock is like superhumanly big, and the Fiend is big as well. Bray Wyatt's big as well.
Bray Wyatt's
So
like just a naturally built dude, so
yeah,
I think Cole would have looked weird there. But I mean, it really don't matter. I mean, people are very selective in what they choose to pick out on. I mean,
yeah,
I really don't see the issue. But I mean, to each his own. And as
yeah.
far as Pete Dunne, I think you should put. No, don't do that. But I was gonna think. I think next for him is a North American title feud,
Yeah, I can
probably with
see that.
Roderick Strong.
I
Go
wouldn't
down
be.
the card a little bit, or
I
you could wrap it up with him and Killian Dane. But I mean, if you're gonna do that, you might as well put Killian Dane over since Pete Dunne's already on a losing streak. Ain't no point of doing flip floppy with it. Like if
no.
Pete Dunne's gonna be on a losing streak, then have him on a losing streak.
Do you think they might put him on a losing streak and then have Tyler Bate and Trent Seven come back and then have
Ooh,
Pete,
that'd be something.
and then have Pete Dunne turn on them after a little losing streak, because we haven't seen heel Pete Dunne for a while.
Very
And
true.
then do him versus Tyler Bate.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, I wouldn't be
Something
against that.
different.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm actually with that. Side up for NXT creative.
of course, I should be creative already. I'd have written better than some of what they've done over the last year. But
Whoa,
anyway,
NXT
no.
or main Raw? I'm about to say
Mate,
side G's, man.
WWE generally, just generally. But yeah, you'd have just had the Fiend and the OC versus Undisputed Era
Yeah,
over and over again every night.
we let you get the pin. We'll be going for the Fiend versus Riddle at Mania right now.
Yeah. So okay, so next was the Universal Championship match, which was the Fiend defeated Daniel Bryan. I really enjoyed this match, which is no surprise because I enjoy everything which Bray Wyatt and the Fiend generally do. But I actually thought Daniel Bryan did so well in this match. He got the crowd into it. He sold them a ticket. They thought at one point he was going to win. And when the Fiend catches him in midair with the mandible claw, I thought that was a really cool way to finish it as well. I just thought it was pretty good for what it is. You know, it's like it's going to be a glorified squash match because of the way they're building the Fiend up, but Daniel Bryan still managed to make it good and interesting with the way he works, and you got the yes chance back, which adds to his character. But the Fiend still kicked out after the yes chance. What do you think of the red light?
I'm not a fan of red light, but I mean, I'm guessing that's just a part of the character, so I'm just gonna stop complaining about it. So, I mean, it is
Yeah,
what it is now. I don't think Bray's matches are meant to be like classic matches. They're meant to
no,
tell a story, and that's what he did. Uh, the whole point was to get Daniel Bryan back to, I guess, the revive the yes movement. I guess that was the
yeah,
whole point, and he did what he said he was gonna do with Seth Rollins. So, I mean, that Fiend's having a good run as Universal Champion. I think they're doing a great job of presenting him, like with the builds. I'm really interested to see what's next for him heading into TLC. Probably shouldn't even have him defend the title at TLC and just wait to the Rumble. So I mean, you know, everything going good for the Fiend right now. I'm very interested to see who's next on his list and
I'm very.
who he's going to be revealing on the 5-5 Funhouse this week.
Is it going to be Liv?
I don't know, man. I don't know
She's
what's going on with that.
she's been teasing, but these what people forget is these workers, they work, and they know when people are kind of getting excited or they're like speculating that so and so's coming back, and they do feed into it a bit. So she could just be having a bit of fun, but she has been teasing it herself that she's coming back soon. I'd like to see what they could do with it. I feel like it could be quite interesting and something different. So I'm all for it. Um, so we had the men's Survivor Series match. I don't. This,
Just I want to point this out. Like we could just I think Keith Lee was made in this match. That exchange he had with Roman Reigns was great. They made him into a star. Like that was just my high point from that match. Like just off the top, while we running on time, I feel like that was a
yeah.
real great moment for Keith Lee, and he showed out.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna kind of skip through some of the bits. I like Walter was super over. The crowd loved him,
That was
and I
surprising.
I was so disappointed that they screwed him over in like 2 or 3 minutes. Really pissed off. I Riddle versus Gable, like 5 minutes of just chain wrestling and grappling was awesome, so good. Um, and then you had Riddle. Riddle rolled up Randy Orton, which I thought was awesome. But then Orton gave him an RKO, which I don't think that's the end of that story. The moment where Strowman was mowing everyone down right outside the ring, and he came up against Keith Lee, and they both went down. I thought that was awesome. Yeah, and Baron Corbin like picking up the fan favorites and pinning them, and like coming up behind them and pinning them like Riddle, and I think that's clever booking, even if it doesn't suit what I like. It's clever to get the heat on him. And like the crowd when it was Riddle, Rollins and Reigns, everyone thought that Riddle was going to lose and those two were going to be the two survivors. So I thought it was really cool to see Keith Lee take out Seth Rollins. I thought that was awesome. And Keith Lee's made now. If they wanted to move him to Raw, he could turn up and he could go straight into the main event if they wanted to.
I agree, man.
Will they do it is the question. Then we had Brock versus Rey Mysterio.
They should have did it. They should have pulled the trigger.
They should have put him on.
They should have pulled the trigger, man. That was a great moment.
They should have called an audible when Dominic came out. As soon as they hit that low blow and the crowd was going nuts and they were so emotional, they should have called an audible and had when they both did the frog splashes.
Should have been it.
Yeah, it should have been it. But then
you I know me and you was talking about this during the last podcast. Like I said, they always do this. Everybody always get these little comeback moments against Brock, but they couldn't give for Kofi.
Yeah,
see
you
what
did.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
See that's that shit I'm talking about right there. You see why I'm mad? You see why I'm mad, Si? You see why I'm mad? I see I'm about to throw the phone. You see
we're gonna do a whole podcast on just Kofi next.
They keep doing that. Everybody gets these special comeback moments against Brock. You telling me you couldn't do that for Kofi? This Ray match wasn't even long. It was like 9 minutes. You telling me you couldn't have...
It doesn't have to be long, does it? It just has to be
telling
like
me
5
you couldn't
minutes.
give Kofi like a Trouble of Paradise, a little low blow spot, Big E or Xavier Woods interfere. You know what I'm saying? Like you telling me you couldn't give me nothing, like nothing, but you telling me you go out of your way to get Dominic to frog splash. That was a nice frog splash, by the way. He had a nice frog splash on Brock. That was nice. But you telling me everybody gets these little comeback stories on Brock, but Kofi couldn't get one. Seaside. That's what I was talking about last time.
It's bullshit. No, it is. It is shit though. It's like, come on.
But just focusing on the Ray match, I really enjoyed that. I always enjoy when Brock walks the smaller dudes. I was really expecting high expectations for the Ray match because I mean, come on now, it's Rey Mysterio and Brock. Like the size alone makes it a fun match, and it was a fun match. And I think the way they involved Dominic was really good. I think going from next, I want to see. I think what we're going to get next is Ricochet versus Brock at Royal Rumble. I think that's what's going to happen, and we're probably going to get Rey Mysterio and Dominic teaming up at WrestleMania. So I'm looking forward for that. But remember, I said this. I tweet this out when you put the thing out. I said Ricochet versus Brock Lesnar at Royal Rumble. I want everybody to go earlier this year. It was an episode of Raw. I think it was coming out of WrestleMania. It was the summer when Ricochet came down to the ring and he walked past Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman mean mugged him. It's gonna all come full circle. I'm telling you, Ricochet versus Brock 2020 Royal Rumble Houston. Ricochet is going to sell his life away for Brock Lesnar.
That would be awesome. I gotta say, I would love to see that match. I think Ricochet could do some amazing shit with Brock. Right, I've got to go, so I'm gonna have to. That's why we're speeding through Survivor Series, guys. So I apologize, but we focused on NXT because NXT rocks. So the Women's Championship Showcase, which was the main event, Shayna Baszler defeated Bayley and Sasha Banks. I felt quite sorry.
Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch. Sorry.
Did you think Ronda was coming out? Like, did you think that was going to happen? I did too.
When Becky attacked her at the end and said, "This is my fucking show."
Oh, I definitely
thought she was coming.
I definitely think that was about the scene song was about to hit. But that made the crowd just seem like they were flat, man. And I felt bad for them, like they didn't have the crowd. Like I don't know what people expect from Shayna Baszler matches. Like I think you gotta have a certain taste in wrestling to understand, but not understand, but enjoy Shayna matches. I know you do, and I do, because she's just like technical savvy. But like I don't know what I guess some people in that crowd were really familiar with how she worked.
Yeah, and I also think that obviously the men's match was pretty good just before, and you had the Brock Lesnar and Rey Mysterio. I almost feel like they should have put the Brock match on last or the Fiend match on last. I know, like, really, when you know the results, put Adam Cole and Pete Dunne on last. But I know they're not going to put the NXT, title match on last. But like that as a main event would have been incredible. because I actually thought the women's match, I thought it was pretty good. I quite liked it, but the crowd just didn't get into it, and that took away from it a lot. But I actually thought it was all right. It wasn't as bad as people say. NXT wins the night. So, yeah, were you surprised at how strongly they booked NXT?
No, not at all. Because I mean, I think that like even though they don't really mention it, I think they want to, get ahead of NXT. They want NXT to be ahead of All Elite Wrestling in the ratings, even though the ratings don't really necessarily mean which show is better. But I think it's just a good accolade to have that you beat them in the ratings, and I think there's a lot of more eyes are going to be on NXT, and we're going to see today, as of this Thursday, November 28th, that we're recording this podcast. We're going to see who wins the ratings for this week. And I kind of like from what I heard that both shows were kind of flat. Like they weren't as exciting as they normally were. So I'm very excited to watch NXT and see if that holds weight, because I kind of felt that way about the AEW show. It was good, but it wasn't. It was like,
It wasn't great. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was all right. The Jericho, I thought Jericho's promo at the start was really funny.
I'm gonna
But-
say this with Jericho adding Sean to the end of every word is hilarious. Like that is funny. I will give him that. Him saying celebrate Sean and Le
Yeah.
Champion. That is funny. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah.
He's the GOAT. Guys, you can follow Andrew on Twitter at AD Thompson
Underscore.
and I'm at ACEcast_nation, Facebook.com/ACEcastNation, YouTube.com/ACEpodcastNation. Also, check out Andrew's YouTube channel as well, because he has awesome interviews. And guys,
I'm gonna put Sal on the spot right here before we go. Sal, are we doing the Royal Rumble throwback review?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I don't know when, but it'll be
Okay.
soon, and then it'll be out over Christmas. Me and Andrew are gonna review Royal Rumble. I can't even remember what year we said.
The one before WrestleMania 17.
Yeah, so it's gonna be. I'm doing the Royal Rumble from that year with Andrew, and then we're doing WrestleMania 17 with Alex McCarthy of TalkSport. It's gonna be good.
Sweet.
Andrew,
Got the
thank you
two
for joining me.
journalists.
Yeah, the two proper journalists. Not like me. I'm just an amateur.
You're a legend.
Amateur.
Make sure to check out my guy's side with the UFC fighter coming up soon.
Yeah.
Unscripted. Get your real questions in.
Get that weird shit in. Guys, I'll see you next time. Andrew, you are a legend. Thank you for joining me.
Peace, brother. Always a good time talking to you.